Hi, I'm Ski with Pete. Today we're going to be building different types of stabilizers. Let's get to it. So here we're looking at the Gone Nerd 108 PCB. This has a lot of different stabilizers that are needed to be put on here, so I thought I would use that. But today we're only going to be doing the spacebar, and we're going to be doing it in two different methods. Those two different methods are the GMK stabilizer and the clear, cheap OEM stabilizer. Both of these are PCB stabilizers, and I'm going to build both of them, and I'm going to show you the simple method for building them, and then the right way to build them, and then the best way to build them. So we're going to start with the GMK. So when you get a GMK stabilizer, let me switch over to Action Cam. When you get a GMK stabilizer, they come in this pack, and you can see that they're already pre-assembled. And by pre-assembled, what I mean is that they're already with the bar in them, like that. And these are GMK's screw-in stabilizers. Okay, the first thing you need to know about screw-in stabilizers, just like the OEM stabilizers, is how they fit into the hole. So here, again, we're looking at the PCB, and what we're going to do is put the tip, the little tip, in the big hole. So when you do that, the way that this lines up is like that. Oh, let me show you here. You put the tip in there, and then you see it holds flat down the back, just like that. Okay, and then what you do is you take your little screw. The screws come in a little bag like this. Let me knock out a couple of screws. Okay, so what you do now, take your handy little screwdriver, and all you do is, you can't see it, but you can't, there you go. All you do, take your screwdriver and tighten it in. All right, now that's not tight yet. I could go tighter, but I don't think I'm going to, because all that I'm showing you is the most basic method for stabilizers. We didn't do anything. We didn't clip or trim these at all. And it's the least recommended version. But if you are insecure about this, or you just want to get started, you can use them in this way, and the world won't end. You put the toe in the big hole and the screw in the little hole, and you're good. Okay. Let's move on swiftly to the better methods for doing this. Okay, before we get to the better methods, we need to talk about how to assemble a stabilizer. If you didn't buy the GMK and you bought the OEM version, it'll come in a bag like this. And let's talk about how to build that. Now, I'm going to build this next one with black inserts inside of clear stabilizer housing. And the reason I'm going to do this is just for the purpose of the demonstration. You cannot buy them like this, but I just want to show you how this goes. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the little part, we'll call it the inside, and then the housing, the outside. Right, the housing has a front and a back to it. The front is the part that clips the wire in. So you can see that that would clip in here. And it has a back, which has a split foot. See that split there? Okay, just like the other, it has a toe. The toe goes at the front, the split goes at the back, and the wire goes at the front with the toe, just like this. This little housing has two sides to it as well. It has the back, which is open, and the front, which has two levels to it. Now, I have a long history of calling this the hotel side. I don't know why I started calling it the hotel side, but I did. That's the hotel side, and the wire goes into the hotel side on the ground floor. Okay, so again, you got the front and the back. I got the front where the wire goes, and into the front, facing the front, is the hotel side. The hotel side, there you go. And now into the ground floor is where the wire goes. So I'm just pushing this wire in on the ground floor. It hasn't gone in yet, but it will shortly. Eventually it's going to go in. There we go. Now it's gone in the front or the hotel side. And now I'm going to clip it down into the housing. There you go. Now it's clipped into the housing, you can see. There it is. That is your stabilizer, how it would be assembled for you to use. Pretty straightforward. Let me finish building it with the other half first. We'll put it in place, and then once we've done that, then I'll take it apart and show you better methodologies. Okay, there it is. Again, front towards the front. Put this in on the hotel side. This wire is going to slide straight through. There we go. Clipped it in. Now, just like the GMK stabilizer, the toe goes towards the big hole, and the heel or the split goes towards the small hole. I'm just going to get that all lined up. And we're just going to push it in, just like that. And just push this one in, just like that. Now, you can see that these are done correctly when there's no gap in here. You see there's no gap along that line. If this is up, or you could fit like a flathead screwdriver underneath it, then it's not done correctly. There you go. That is a stabilizer. Okay, there's our stabilizer. Now, you can hear it. It sounds terrible. So now we're going to move on to lubing and clipping our stabilizers. First, I'm going to pop these back out. You can see all I do is just pinch the leg and push it up. I'm going to do it on the same on this other side. Push them in and pop it up. Okay. Now that I've done that and removed the stabilizer, I'm just going to do the first section, which is clipping. Okay. What you do with these black legs, the black inserts like this, they've got these little prongs on them. You see these little legs with their little hooks on them? Those little hooks are to cushion. They push on these little levers. You can see that lever real clear there. You can see, and when it gets to the bottom, it pushes on that and provides that little bit of dampening. Now, some time ago, people in the keyboard community decided they didn't like that dampening. Instead of it being silent, what they wanted is a thok. And the way you get the thok is by clipping these off so that there's no cushioning and it lands on a flat bottom. So what I'm going to do is take my flush cutters here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim those off. You only want to do the legs that have the little hooks on them. You don't want to do it to both of them. Now, I've chosen flush cutters that are particularly dull and toast. I don't know that I have other ones here, but let me just cut this guy. See what I can do. There's one off. Here's the other one. That came off easier. Okay, then there's one little part left. You can see there's a little knob that's left, so it's not quite flush. I'm just going to cut that little knob off too, until the whole thing comes out flush. There we go. Looks a little unflush just because my clippers are a little dull, but that is pretty much flush. Now what's going to happen is this is going to contact flat. So let me put it back inside the housing again. Hotel side to the front. Ooh, hotel side to the front. That is a clipped stabilizer. Okay, but it still sounds kind of junky. So the next step is going to be how to lubricate it. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to grab a paintbrush. We're going to grab our pot of lube. I have a pot of lube. When you buy it from one of Keyboards, it comes in a little vial. And what you're going to do, again, you want to do this everywhere where there's a contact point. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right in that little well there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint this and this hole there, and then I'm going to push this back in, and you're done. Okay, now I'm going to do it to the other side. I'm going to pop this out. I'm going to paint this corner, and I'm going to paint in this hole, and I'm going to pop it back down. Okay, we've now lubed the joint, which is great, but we're not finished lubing. The other thing we need to do is to lube the housing and where this thing moves. So we're going to paint along the side here. I'm going to add a bit more lube. We're going to paint along the side and the other side. Now that because I have it out, I can also paint on the inside here and the inside there. Now this thing will smoothly flow up and down. Okay. All right. Now we have a lubed, clipped stabilizer. But there's something else that I like to do. And I'm going to show you how to do it on this one, even though I'm going to take this apart and it's just going to cause a mess in a minute. The other thing that I like to do, and the best method for lubricating your stabilizer if it's already in place, is to get a tube of goo or to pack in this back end of it. So here I'm going to show you on the one end how I would do it if I had a paintbrush like I do. I'm going to gob up a bunch of lube on the back of the brush, and then I'm going to stuff it in this hole. Again, that wire is moving inside of there, and because of that, that's going to make a bunch of noise. The other side, I'm going to do the other method. The other method is using a tube of lube. So what I'm going to do is take the cap off of this. I'm going to hold the stabilizer bar up, and I'm just going to squeeze some lube into the back of here like this. There, that's packed up. There you go. Now you've got lube all the way across. All right. Now, there's no switch or anything in there, but I can still show you what it would sound like, just the stabilizer. There's no rattle. There's no rattle in there. That's just a nice stabilizer, all nicely prepped for us. Okay. Now, the reason I said that this is kind of a weird situation is that I'm not making it with these black inserts. I'm going to make it with these regular clear inserts. And these regular clear inserts, you can see, they're pre-clipped. So some of them come without needing to be clipped. They don't have those little legs on them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this apart and then redo it. Not only would you lubricate this in exactly the same way if you were doing the GMK, but there's another way to take your GMK experience to the next level, and it's highly recommended when it comes to these gone boards. These stabilizers sometimes come so close to the holes that they can actually short your board. So here, if I was to show you, for example, this shift key, it's the small hole. So look how close it is to these switch holes. So what you need to do here is you need to shield it. And the way that you can do that is with one of these little tiny rings. So look, there's the rings. And there's your screws. You can see I've already put a ring in there. What I'm going to do is just take one of these out so you can see it. Now these are fiber non-conductive O-rings. They're like little washers. And what you do is you put a washer on your screw, and you can see this one. These are just about to come out from one-up keyboards. In fact, it should be within the next couple of days. These will be an add-on for your GMK stabs if you're watching this video in the future. So that's what you do. You'd put these in already lubricated, and then you'd put this in the bottom with these little washers on them. Just before I go on here, I'm just going to grab so you can hear the difference between a lubed stabilizer and an un-lubed stabilizer. Okay, this is what an unlubed stabilizer sounds like. This is what a lubed stabilizer sounds like. Unlubed. Lubed. I'm sure you can tell the difference because I'm going to do this right by my microphone. And the lubed. You'll notice how the lubed makes no noise at all. That's because there's lubricant in there and it's slowing the thing down. It's acting like grease to help this thing move. Perfect. All right, I'm going to get on and lubricate a bunch of stabilizers and put them in place because I am actually going to build this board. So here I go. You can actually see the whole wire in there in these clear ones, which is great. See that fits in nice and tight like that. And I'm just going to, you know what, I didn't paint that corner first, so I'm just going to pop it open. What if you do too much lube? Get a little piece of paper or a little tissue and wipe it off. If you can see the lube, you can wipe it off. If you can't see it, you've done it correctly. I got one. Can you see it? Let me flip this around and show you. Do you see? Oh, they're all falling out all around me. But there's a gap under there. It's pretty tough to see, but I'm hopeful that you can tell. Unlike the other one where there is no gap, this one has a little gap in it. So all we do to fix that, it's really easy. You just pop this out, reline it up, and then re-put it back down. Well, it's still not quite right, so let's do it again. Usually what that means is on this side that the toe has not gone all the way into the hole, and I can see that that's the case. Now that that toe is all the way in the hole, it pops in and you can see it's nice and flat now. But I've thrown all the other ones off the board. So I'm just going to grab them back up here. Chuck them back in. All right, here we go. The last step to do, I'm going to do it because I got a tube of it. If you don't have a tube of it, I showed you earlier, all you do, you just take a good gob of it and you just whack it in the back here like this. You just whack it in this hole. I try to fill that hole up as much as I can. The reason I do that is the bar is pushing up against the inside of there. So there's a lot of friction in there and a lot of noise. But what makes it even easier is if you have a tube of the stuff, because then all you do now, again, you can see here because of the clear stabilizers, you can see exactly how much lube I put in there. Cool, and over time that'll work down along that metal bar as I use the keyboard. Thanks very much for tuning in today, guys. My name's Keith Pete. Don't forget to press like. Don't forget to press subscribe. Have a great day, and come back to check out the next video in this series when I start to put this keyboard together properly. I'll add some switches. Of course, I'll build in the plate and go on from there. Thanks again for tuning in.